Pokemon TCG Pocket is still relatively new, and it allows players to open exclusive packs and play the trading card game right from their phones. I started this game a while ago and thought it would be interesting if I used only Pokemon I pull from my packs to see if I can beat a Pokemon game I've played the first 25% of dozens of times but never actually finished. That game is of course Pokemon Fire Red. This challenge was pretty insane and definitely an interesting journey, so without further ado, here are the packs that will dictate which Pokemon we are allowed to use. Okay, so let's boot up this game. I have played like quite a decent amount. I have kind of stopped a little bit recently, but we've played a decent amount. So basically our team is going to be comprised of 4 packs. If I need to, we might do a wonder pick, but I'm going to try and avoid it. Let's just start with a Genetic Apex Pikachu pack. See what we can get out of it. Here we go. I'm just going to go with the first one because I'm lame. Let's rip this open. Okay, we're starting off with a Wigglytuff. Is it a God pack? It's not, but there is something else in here too. Swoobat, Clobbopus, Voltorb, and a Golem. Okay, definitely an interesting first pack. There's some usable Pokemon in there. We'll have to see. We'll have to truly see what happens. Anyways, let's get on to the next one here. We're going to go with the Charizard one. We're going to switch it up and go with the Charizard one. We can't do 2 of the same, of course. That would be disgraceful. And again, we're going to go with the first one. Charmeleon. So we can use the Charizard line, which is kind of humongous. Froakie. Vulpix, that's another usable Pokemon. Oddish, another usable Pokemon. We like to see that. And Meowth. I don't think I actually had that card. That's kind of a decent pull. I'm not upset with that. Okay. Well, there's the first 2 packs. We will now open the last 2 because we're going to open 4. I'm going to use Hourglasses to open the last 2, and we'll see what we get out of those. There's definitely some options so far. And of course, I am not going to open the same one as the other 2. We're going to open the Mewtwo pack this time. And then maybe whatever pack we had the best pulls out of. Let's just do a little random. Yeah, okay. Here we go, Mewtwo pack. We got a Eradicate. There's nothing crazy in this one, but Eradicate, another usable Mon. Dubwool. Not what we want to see. Frostmoth, also not what we want to see. Weedle. And Golduck. Okay, we're getting some variety here, which isn't bad. I think for our 4th pack, we're going to open up the Charizard one again, just because we had the best pulls out of it. So let's go. We'll use the Hourglasses. Last pack. I don't know what more we could really ask for. We know what our starter is going to be, which is good. Here we go. Bellsprout. Larion. We get an evolution going here. A lot of fire types. Vulpix. Staryu, and Chinchino. Well, there we go. There is the 4th and final pack. Okay, and I'm realizing now that we actually have all of our Wonder Pick tokens, so maybe we'll pick out one of these and potentially get us another team member. Is there anything that we want to go for? This one might be the best option from Lord Neat. I think that will be our best option. It just gives us the most options of usable Pokemon. Yep, you know what? We're going to go for it. Hopefully it's a usable Pokemon, but we shall see. A Gengar would be cool. I think, yeah, you know what? Let's just go for it. So, we're hoping for the Gengar, but nothing is really too horrible here. Oh my god, we got it. Let's go. Gengar is the final member of the team. So we have all of our members, we have all of our packs open. I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore. Let's actually get into this game and see if we can beat it with a team used completely from Pokemon TCG Pocket. We shall see. We shall see. Alright, just a quick side note, not that anybody cares, but holy shit was this annoying to set up. I've used Visual Boy Advance before, and it just decided to straight up stop working every single time I tried something on it. I hope you appreciate this just a tiny little bit at least, because my god, was it a painstaking process that I wouldn't wish upon anybody. With that out of the way, let's get into our first order of business, naming our character. We of course go with Scud, and our rival will be named Luigi. After we're thrust into the world of Pokemon, I try to escape the confines of my own town, but I'm stopped by Professor Oak, who wants to have a little chat with me. Our mother clearly taught us nothing, so we accompany the strange man to his lab to see what he wants. In there, we are introduced to another of his victims, but it turns out to be his grandson Luigi. He then lets us choose a Pokemon, and we know exactly who we have to take. Right, and of course, based on the pack we opened, We gotta go with our boy Charmander here. We nickname him Spicy P, and he has a timid nature, which is quite good. Don't ask, I don't know. Luigi finds out we have healthcare insurance, and he promptly challenges us to a battle. His Squirtle is no match for our scratches, and we win this fight easily. We manage to escape the evil laboratory and head out onto Route 1, where we can find our first encounter. We don't have any Pokeballs yet, so we must venture to Viridian City in order to acquire some. Upon reaching the Pokemart, we find out that we can't buy any balls until we deliver a parcel to Professor Oak, so we head all the way back home to deliver the package. We bring the parcel to Oak along with a message that we aren't his damn errand boy, and he gives us a Pokedex as compensation. He also gives us some Pokeballs, so it's time to grab our first team member from Route 1. We catch our Rattata, name him Remy, and it's got a relaxed nature. After getting Remy, the next thing we do is head to Viridian Forest to find our next encounter, Weedle. We catch it, name it Bruce, and find out it has a sassy nature. We can immediately evolve it into Kakuna, then Beedrill, and take it to our first gym fight against Brock. We don't really have many good answers for Brock, so I'm hoping we don't have to reset the run after this fight. He leads with Geodude, and we send out Bruce. I use Harden to boost my defense, then slowly but surely take Geodude out with Fury attacks. Next is Onix, and I send a few string shots before switching to Remy. I lower Onix to -3 defense until unfortunately I have to sack Remy, so I get a safe switch into Spicy P. A super effective Metal Claw takes down Onix just to below half, and one more is enough to take out the giant rock snake. That's a tough one to start off with, man. Holy moly. I saw no way to win this fight without having to make a sacrifice. Remy will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, my small purple friend. In order to compensate for the loss of Remy, we evolve Spicy P into Charmeleon and find our next team member, Jigglypuff. I capture it, name it Ed, and it has an impish nature. I can also enter Mount Moon now, so we head there to hopefully find a Geodude. I find one, capture it, and name it Roxanne. It has a hasty nature, which isn't too bad actually. With the Moonstone I found in the aptly named Mount Moon, we evolve Ed into Wigglytuff. With our vastly improved team, we can head to Cerulean Gym to challenge Misty. She leads with Staryu, and we start with Ed. We use Sing to put it asleep quickly, which allows us to start wailing on it with Pound. After a couple of powerful pounds, Misty uses one of her super potions, but she just prolongs the inevitable, and our pounding finally takes out Staryu. Next up is Starmie, and I immediately disable its water pulse. I put it to sleep with Sing, then switch to Bruce. I capitalize on the sleeping starfish by throwing some super effective Twin Needles. Starmie stays asleep on the next turn, and I can take it out with another Twin Needle. Insanely easy. We were set up insanely good for that. That was insane, one might say. Misty gives us the Cascade Badge, and we can now move on to other more important matters. Upon trying to leave Cerulean City, we are stopped by Luigi and challenged to another battle. He sends out Pidgeotto, and we throw out Ed. As we've done numerous times, I sing it to sleep with Ed's angelic voice and switch to Roxanne. Pidgeotto wakes up and uses Sand Attack, but luckily Roxanne doesn't miss the rock throw and takes out the bird. Next is Squirtle, and we definitely need to get Roxanne out. For some unknown reason, I stay in to attempt to use Magnitude and survive a very hefty water gun barely. The Magnitude doesn't even take Squirtle out, so we're forced to switch to Bruce. I tank a weak-ass water gun, then take Squirtle out with Poison Sting. Next on the chopping block is Abra, and with Bruce already in, it only takes a single Twin Needle to defeat it. Luigi's last mon is Rattata, and our PTSD kicks in so heavy that we annihilate the rat with Fury Attack. Luigi finally gives us a gift, then pisses off for the time being. We have a pretty strange encounter with the box inventor Bill. We're not technically just leave him in there for like the rest of eternity, then single-handedly solve a home invasion case for the extremely helpful police. Hell of a police officer just sitting out there like an idiot. We head over to Route 5 to find our next encounter, Oddish. I name it Nate, and he's got a mild nature. I pop over to Route 6 where we find another team member in Meowth. I capture it and give him a very original nickname. Meowth has a lonely nature, which doesn't really matter. Afterwards, I evolve Nate into Gloom. What is in his mouth? Always wondered. We can now board the SS Anne, and this whole adventure on the boat is very uneventful except for another battle with Luigi. This one is just about as easy as the last, so we breeze through it with 0 issues. Do we actually have an insanely good team, or is this game just extremely easy so far? There is a very good chance I will eat those words, but for now we head to Vermilion Gym to challenge Lieutenant Surge. After messing around in the gym for a while, we make it to Lieutenant Surge and start the battle. He begins the fight with Voltorb, and I toss out Roxanne. Obviously, we have a very large advantage here with Roxanne, and a single Magnitude is more than enough to remove Voltorb. Next on the chopping block is Pikachu, and it suffers the exact same fate as Voltorb. Lieutenant Surge turns to his ace Raichu, and this will be the first real test of this battle. Just kidding. Roxanne racks up another one-hit KO, and that's a clean sweep of the entire gym. As a reward, Roxanne evolves into its final form for this run, Graveler. After defeating the gym, I insist on getting through Rock Tunnel without the help of Google or Flash, and I think I spent a good 45 minutes here, so I definitely recommend doing that. Oh my god, finally, that was torture. Why didn't I just look up a guide? I will never know the answer to that question. Fuck. After that colossal waste of time, I make it to Lavender Town, more specifically the Pokemon Tower, where we find Luigi. Is your Pokemon dead? Hey, it's alive, at least I can make them faint. Damn, this guy wants to kill our Pokemon. I don't take kindly to his threats and I completely shit-kick his entire team. Luigi expresses his displeasure with the healthcare system once again and he leaves in a fit of rage. Once he's gone, we evolve Tom into Persian and head to Celadon Mansion to acquire an Eevee, which I name Carl, and immediately evolve into Flareon. At this point, we can also evolve Nate into one of its final forms, Vileplume. We head on over to the gym next to challenge Erika. Wow, creepy old man. Never noticed that one before. I don't know what it is with the creepy old men in this game, but it's perhaps the most realistic thing about Pokemon. After calling the authorities to remove Herbert, we make it through the vastly complicated gym puzzle and find ourselves face to face with Erika. We strike up a conversation, but she isn't really interested in talking, so we just battle instead. She leads with Victreebel and we send out Spicy P. I test the waters with an Ember and it does just over half. We get paralyzed with Stun Spore, and this is how I realize I forgot to give Spicy P a Cherry Berry. We get hit by an Acid and it doesn't do too much, so we wait it out until Victreebel goes down into another Ember. Next, Erika sends in Tangela and it immediately ingrains. We use Ember and it almost takes out the Spaghetti Monster, but it lives on what I can only assume is 1 HP. It heals with Ingrain, and it's at this point I decide to switch into my other fire type, Carl. Erika uses a Hyper Potion and I realize now that Carl doesn't actually have any fire type moves. So we go for a quick attack instead and it does some okay damage. We subsequently get poisoned and Tangela slowly chips away at us before I'm forced to switch into Tom. We use Bite and it's a little more effective than Quick Attack, so it's not long until Tangela goes down. Erika's last team member is Vileplume and I choose to keep Tom in for the time being. I chip away with Payday until Vileplume puts us to sleep and I'm forced to switch out. I send in Bruce and tank a weak Giga Drain before hitting Vileplume with a powerful Twin Needle. We get paralyzed shortly after, but that doesn't matter to Bruce as we keep fighting away with Twin Needles until Bruce is too weak to stay in and we switch to Ed. All it takes is 1 pound until Vileplume faints and the Rainbow Badge is ours. There were some rumors going around about a large gang of adult babies causing trouble, so I head to the Team Rocket hideout to see what the fuss is about. After some screwing around, we make it to the boss's room and I meet the leader of Team Rocket, Giovanni. He challenges us to a battle and we graciously accept. He sends out Onyx and we lead with Nate. We hit the Rock Snake with a quad effective Absorb and it barely survives. Giovanni clearly doesn't believe in potions, so 1 more Absorb takes out Onyx. Next up is Rhyhorn, and unlike Onyx, 1 Absorb is enough to defeat it. Giovanni's third and final Pokemon is Kangaskhan, and needless to say, I was not prepared for how much damage this thing would output. I end up switching to Tom after putting Kangaskhan to sleep. We use Payday and it doesn't do as much as I had hoped. I make the mistake of allowing Giovanni to lower our defense, and because of my error, Tom gets destroyed by a Mega Punch. Rest in peace, my friend. I switch back to Nate to put Kangaskhan to sleep and immediately send out Spicy P. I toss an Ember which does pitiful damage and I take a big hit from Mega Punch. I decide to stay in and use another Ember and hope to God I don't get crit by Mega Punch, and luckily I don't. I don't want to lose my starter, so I switch to Bruce. I get my defense lowered twice and I don't want to risk Bruce if I don't have to, so it's back to Nate. He takes the Mega Punch decently well and I put Kangaskhan back to sleep. I go back to Bruce thinking I'm safe to use Twin Needle, but not before Kangaskhan wakes up and smokes Bruce with a super unlucky crit, and our Bumblebee friend falls as well. I use the death of Bruce as an opportunity to switch in Carl and we take Kangaskhan out with a few quick attacks. We win the battle, but at a large cost of 2 team members. Giovanni disappears and we collect the Sylph Scope in shame. Now that we have the Sylph Scope, I can go back to the Pokemon Tower and capture our next team member, Ghastly. I name him Gus and he's got a docile nature. I take the opportunity to make it to the top of the tower to talk to yet again another strange old man. Weird old man just says, "Follow me to my home." Of course we do that. We acquire the Pokeflute and now we can move the annoying Snorlax that's been in our way. Along our journey, Ghastly evolves into Haunter and we can now access Saffron City via giving this police officer a cup of tea. Yeah. Oh, and Spicy P can now evolve into Charizard. The next significant task we need to complete is freeing the capitalist center of the Pokemon universe from the clutches of Team Rocket. Turns out the solution in this section is actually very simple, but in typical Scud fashion, I spend way too much time wandering around aimlessly until we finally run into Luigi and he challenges us to a battle. We had a perfectly simple answer for everything on his team, so I'll spare you the pain of having to watch the Luigi destruction session. Once Luigi disappears, we keep on moving until we're standing face to face with the evil mastermind Giovanni himself. himself. He challenges us to yet another battle and leads with Nidorino. Oh no, why am I leading with Nate? I forgot to adjust my team for this fight, so we're stuck with Nate for the time being. I swap to Roxanne the first chance I get and throw a super effective magnitude. Nidorino survives on the tiniest sliver of health and I have to use one more magnitude to take it out. Next, Giovanni sends in Nidoqueen and I swap to Spicy P. We use Flamethrower and it does a decent amount of damage. We tank weak double kicks and poison stings until unfortunately one inflicts poison. This poisons, I swear to God. I stick it out with Spicy P and take out the Nidoqueen with another Flamethrower. Next up is Rhyhorn and he's a little too scary for Spicy P, so I swap out into Nate. I then use a quad effective Giga Drain and there's no doubt that will KO the Rhyhorn. Last up is public enemy number 1, Kangaskhan. This time I had more of a plan, so I start by poisoning Kangaskhan, then switching to Roxanne. I resist all of its attacks and taught Roxanne Brick Break, especially for this fight. Brick Break does a ton of damage and it's a mere few turns until we put the ass in Kangaskhan, and that's Giovanni officially defeated for almost the last time. I'm sure we'll see him again later. We speak to, you guessed it, another elderly man, and he gives us a nice gift for our trouble. Because I am rich, I can give you anything. Where can I meet a guy like this? After the Sylph debacle, we can head straight to Saffron Gym to challenge Sabrina. She sends out Kadabra first, and we begin with Ed to set up Light Screen. Once Ed has served his purpose, I swap into Carl to tank the Future Sight attack Kadabra sent earlier. Once we're in the clear, I swap into Spicy P and use Flamethrower, and luckily it burns the Kadabra. Paired with the burn damage, one more Flamethrower is enough to knock out Kadabra. Sabrina then sends out Mr. Mime, and I decide to keep Spicy P in so we can overpower the clown. Amazingly, our Flamethrower crits and takes the Mime out in one hit. Her next Pokemon is Venomoth, and obviously this silly moth is no match for Spicy P, and a single Flamethrower takes it out as well. Sabrina's last Pokemon is Alakazam, and I choose yet again to leave Spicy P in. I outspeed and use a Flamethrower, which does massive damage, and we tank a powerful Psychic. This means we can outspeed again, and one more Flamethrower wins us the fight and gains us our 5th gym badge. We acquire the Marsh badge and are sent on our way. I feel the need for some new team members, so I head to Route 25 to fish up a Psyduck. I capture it and name it Gloria. Shortly after, we evolve Gloria into Golduck, a key piece of our team for the rest of the game. I make my way to Fuchsia City, where the gym leader Koga is awaiting our arrival. He rudely laughs in our face, so now we're not going to hold anything back on this loser. He sends in Coughing and I send out Ed. I immediately sing Coughing to sleep and set up a Light Screen. I swap to Gus and use Dream Eater, which is more than enough to take out Coughing. Next is Muck and I use a powerful Psychic. It's not quite enough to take Muck out, but does a huge damage nonetheless. The next turn our Psychic is more than enough to deal with the purple pile of gross. Koga sends out another Coughing and I decide to give Gloria a shot. I tank a few Sludges before using Confusion, which is an easy one-hit KO. Koga's last Pokemon is Weezing and it immediately poisons Gloria with Sludge. I elect to switch back to Ed in order to set up a Light Screen, then take him out in favor of Gus. I eat his Sludge easily, then throw a powerful Psychic, which once again leaves Weezing on 1 HP. We then cycle between Psychic and Hyper Potions until Koga is out of items and we outspeed to take out Weezing. I don't even know why I'm trying to use moves like Light Screen and Sing when I can literally just throw in Gus and he will sweep their whole team. Koga then gives us the Soul Badge and secretly admits that he regrets laughing at us. I complete a few errands before realizing I've made a detrimental error in my time management. So you're telling me that I have 6 gym badges and I could have had Fly since beating Erika, and I'm just now getting it? After cooling off a bit, I mosey over to the power plant to acquire the final encounter for this run, Voltorb. I capture it and name it Phil. Since our level cap is 47, I can evolve Phil into Electrode right away. I traverse my way to Cinnabar Island and head right to the gym to challenge Blaine. Time to fight Dr. Eggman. I'm gonna say this for the record before going into this fight. The plan here is to roll out his entire team. Fucking don't even have rollout on this guy. God, I'm so stupid sometimes. New plan, Earthquake. Constantly. And Earthquake constantly we do until Arcanine hits us with an insanely powerful Fire Blast and I'm forced to swap out Roxanne. I send in Spicy P and go for a Fly. Fly connects with a crit and KOs Arcanine. Next is Ponyta and I go for Fly, forgetting Ponyta has Bounce and we are forced to eat the damage. Not wanting to do that again, I switch to Gloria and use Surf. It does massive damage and Ponyta faints. Blaine's final Pokemon is Rapidash and I can easily take it out with another Surf from Gloria. That's 7 badges down and only 1 more to go. We take a little vacation with our good pal Bill, and after some R&R we return to Viridian City and challenge our old friend Giovanni. I would like to tell you that Giovanni fought the good fight, but I would be absolutely lying, as we literally just one-shot each and every one of his Pokemon with Surf. This means the Earth Badge is ours and we can make our way to the Pokemon League at last. On our way to Victory Road, we are stopped once again by Luigi, who wants to have one final go at us before we challenge the Elite Four. He leads with Pidgeot and we still have Gloria at the front of our party, so it looks like she's up first. I decide that Gloria isn't the best option here, so I switch to Roxanne as quickly as possible. unstoppable. I'm hit with a Feather Dance, but I'm able to use Rock Throw right after. It does some good damage, but isn't quite enough to KO. A second one, however, is, and Pidgeot falls. Luigi sends in Blastoise next, and we absolutely have to swap Roxanne out. I decide to send in Nate as Blastoise sets up Rain Dance. I hit it with a Giga Drain, and it does a little less than half. Luigi then surprises me and swaps into Growlithe. Our Giga Drain doesn't do a whole lot, and Growlithe misses a Leer, so we get a free switch into Roxanne. We eat a takedown extremely well, then pulverize Growlithe with a super effective Earthquake. Luigi reintroduces us to Blastoise, and I'm forced to switch Roxanne out again. I send Nate back in to tank a Water Gun, then use Giga Drain a few more times until Blastoise is taken out. Luigi's next Pokemon is Alakazam, and I leave Nate in so I can put it to sleep. This gives me an opportunity to switch to Gus and hit Alakazam with a powerful Shadow Ball. It isn't quite enough to KO, but luckily Alakazam stays asleep and we just hit it with another one. Luigi sends out Rhyhorn, and I keep Gus in to confuse it. It breaks through confusion and uses Rock Blast, which takes us down to 46 HP. I don't want to leave Gus in, so I switch to Gloria. We're hit with a decently powerful Rock Blast, but it's no issue as we can just destroy this thing with a quite effective critical hit Surf. Luigi's last Pokemon is Execute, and Spicy P is the perfect solution to it, so I swap to him. We get paralyzed off the swap, but it's no matter as we use Fire Blast and fry those eggs for good. Luigi finally leaves us alone, and we're free to challenge the Pokemon League. We take our first steps into the Pokemon League and pass through each gym's corresponding gate to prove that we're meant to be there. We finally make it past each gate and enter Victory Road. After doing some final prep, I find the exit to Victory Road and continue on to the Indigo Plateau. I am by far the most nervous for the first fight against Lorelei, and I feel I've done all I can do to prepare to face her ice types, which annoyingly are basically just water types. I enter her chamber, and the battle begins. Alrighty, here we go. Lorelei leads with Dugong, and I send out Ed. We get a respectable Surf off the bat, and I use Sing. With Dugong asleep, I'm free to set up a light screen. I send out Phil in place of Ed and use Shockwave, but not before Dugong wakes up and hits us with an Ice Beam. The Shockwave does a little over half. I figure I will leave Phil in to take out Dugong on the next turn, but the Ice Beam freezes us, of course, so I'm stuck without a plan. Phil finally thaws, and I'm able to begin using Rollout to defeat Dugong. A couple rollouts is all it takes to KO Dugong and force Lorelei to send out Cloyster. Since we've been rolling out, the next one is super powerful and takes out the Cloyster in one hit. Up next is Slowbro, and I decide to swap back into Ed. Slowbro uses Yawn, which means we fall asleep on the next turn, so I take Ed out and send in Gloria. Slowbro uses Yawn once again, so I switch back to Ed. Slowbro uses Surf on us, and it does a ton of damage to Ed, way more than I was expecting. I use Light Screen once again, take another devastating Surf, and I'm forced to take Ed out once again. I send in Nate, and he takes the Surf very well. I go for Giga Drain, and it does about a third of Slowbro's health. Slowbro then goes for Amnesia, and I put him to sleep with Sleep Powder. I hit him with another Giga Drain, and Slowbro remains asleep, so I send in Phil. I use Shockwave, and it's not quite enough to take Slowbro out the first try, but luckily it remains sleeping, and a second Shockwave does the job. Next is Lapras, and this was the turning point of the entire battle. Lapras is quite bulky and has moves that would make it difficult for any of our Pokemon to stay in long enough to do any significant damage. I attempt to use Rollout in order to chain enough damage to defeat Lapras, but it just ends up confusing us right away, which is very bad for Rollout. Confusion hits immediately and we take some damage from hurting ourselves. We get hit by a powerful Surf, and it's not looking good for Phil, so I take him out. I'm expecting a Surf again, so I send in Nate to take it. I go for Sleep Powder, but not before we get confused yet again. I pray that I can break through the confusion, but that was too much to ask. Oh, god damn it, Nate. I don't really know what to do at this point, so I end up swapping to Spicy P. We take a powerful Ice Beam, and I'm forced to swap out yet again. I go with Gloria and Stalls, taking Surfs and hitting with Confusions until Lapras confuses me. I switch back to Spicy P to take the next attack, which ends up being a Body Slam, and of course we get paralyzed. I switch out yet again into Nate, but Lapras is faster and sends a devastating Ice Beam and gets the freeze, so unfortunately this effectively spells the end of our Mushroom Buddy Nate. I swap to Spicy P anyways and take another Ice Beam before getting outsped and ended with Surf. As I watch our glorious starter go down, I know that I'm toast and the run has been lost. I'm now forced to sit idly by as Lapras eviscerates the rest of my team one by one by one by one by one. I shamefully pay out my prize money, then white out in embarrassment. I must just be horrible at Pokemon, because this entire game was so easy. It was a cakewalk the entire time. We go right into the Elite Four and get curb stomped by the first Elite Four member. We're up 4 levels on her too, and she just kicked our teeth in. So As I dissect what went wrong, feel free to watch me make it through the Elite Four regularly in the background. I came to find out that Lorelei was far and above the most difficult fight in the rest of the game, and the Elite Four members got progressively easier, with the easiest fight by far being Lance. Agatha was also pretty easy, and we only lost one team member to her. Champion Luigi was also not too bad, as we only really had trouble with his Blastoise. After the fight, Professor Oak shows up and takes an undeserving Scud to the Hall of Shame, and we take one final look at our failure of a team. With tears in my eyes, I reflect on my mistakes and vow to learn and grow to never fail a challenge like this again. Okay, in all seriousness, I had so much fun with this challenge, man. Nuzlocking just adds an extra element to Pokemon that the base games don't quite provide. I'm still obviously very bad at it, as you just saw, pretty obviously. But you know what? I'm trying to get better. It makes the game more fun, and who can complain about that? This took forever to do because holy shit, in the old Pokemon games, the grinding for levels and everything takes so long. We have come a long way. Anytime you want to complain about the new Pokemon games, just think of how far we've actually come. Still no real excuse for Game Freak, but that's besides the point. Anyways, the fact that you made it this far in the video, I can't thank you enough. Seriously, it's so cool that I can just make a video of me doing shenanigans, and someone like you will spend 25 minutes of their time, their precious time, to watch me be an idiot, and that's pretty insane. So thank you very much if you made it this far, and can't wait to keep pumping out videos, and I hope to see you in future videos as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later.